We've all been there, right? Someone says something that just rubs us the wrong way, or maybe we accidentally blurt out something that makes someone else frown. Then you're left wondering, am I being direct, or am I just being a jerk? Or maybe you're thinking, is that person being rude to me, or are they just being brutally honest? We tend to think of rudeness in a very simple way, like something is either rude or it isn't, just like an on-off switch. But in reality, communication is way more complicated than that. It's more like a long ruler with lots of different points. On it, rudeness, just saying what you want. Consequences be damned 'em. Imagine it like this. At one end of that communication ruler, you've got rudeness. This kind of talk is like a punch in the face, aggressive, dismissive, and often pretty disdainful. A lot of times, the person talking might not even mean to be offensive, but their unspoken goal is often to put someone down, make them feel inferior, or at the very least, they just don't care how the listener feels. Rudeness is all about serving yourself, about getting out whatever you want to say at that moment, or proving you're better without caring how the other person will be affected. It's like using a sledgehammer just to stir up trouble or cause unnecessary pain. The core of rudeness is its indifference to the impact of its words. Even when there's a clearer, kinder way to say something, a rude person will still choose to add insult to injury. It's not just about sharing information. It's a way of talking that's mixed with a bit of contempt, whether obvious or subtle. The goal of rudeness isn't genuine understanding or solving problems together. It often comes from wanting power, a casual disregard for others' feelings, or simply not realizing what they're doing. It's the sharp truth, but it's thrown right in your face with an extra shove just to cause painful, necessary discomfort. Think about this scenario. A rude comment might be, "This report is full of errors. Clearly you don't pay attention to details, and you're just incompetent." This isn't just pointing out a mistake, it's a direct attack on your ability and character. The important information about the errors gets buried and overshadowed by a thick layer of personal insult, leaving you feeling deflated, defensive, and with absolutely no motivation to fix anything. The focus shifts from the problem to the person, creating a hostile atmosphere. Directness, clarity comes first, not comfort in. This doesn't mean it's harsh or unpleasant. It simply means that the main goal is to deliver information or a message clearly and efficiently. Directness understands that sometimes uncomfortable truths are necessary for things to move forward, for real understanding to happen, or for the greater good. It aims to deliver the truth without twisting it, but crucially, without being needlessly aggressive or personally attacking anyone. In that same situation, a direct communicator might calmly say, "I've reviewed the report and noticed a few inconsistencies. On pages 3 and 7, let's go over them together to make sure everything is accurate." The message is crystal clear. The intention is constructive and focused on the task. There's no personal attack, just a focus on the issue that needs addressing. The natural discomfort that comes with realizing you've made a mistake is still there, but it's not made worse by an insulting tone or a dismissive attitude. The conversation stays focused on the problem, opening a path to a solution. For direct communication to really work and avoid accidentally slipping into rudeness, both the speaker and the listener have to make a conscious effort. The speaker has a big responsibility. People who are direct need to be self-aware enough to realize that their words, even if meant to be direct, can still come across as rude. This understanding is super important. Just because you intend to be direct doesn't mean the other person will receive it that way. The truth can definitely hurt, but the person telling the truth shouldn't intentionally cause pain beyond what the truth itself naturally brings. This means communicators need to learn to think before they speak. It means making a habit of pausing for a moment before talking, considering who they're talking to, and carefully choosing words that get the message across precisely while minimizing any unnecessary damage. It's a conscious process of asking yourself, is there a gentler way to say this truth without losing its core message? For example, when giving feedback, instead of blurting out, "Your presentation was boring and poorly researched," a direct communicator might phrase it as, "I found certain parts of the presentation a bit slow, and I think if you strengthen the supporting research in those specific areas, it would really boost its impact." The main message about needing improvement is still there, but the delivery is constructive and actionable, not dismissive. This approach helps the listener grow and learn, whereas the rude approach just creates resentment and defensiveness. Thinking before you speak also includes understanding the context and the listener's current emotional state. delivering a blunt truth to someone who's already super stressed or emotionally fragile. While technically direct, could come across as incredibly rude if it's not softened with an extra layer of consideration and empathy. A truly effective direct communicator knows when to be firm and when to soften the edges, not to sugarcoat, but to make sure the message is received productively and the listener is just as important. Listeners need to learn to understand that discomfort doesn't mean disrespect. This is a crucial distinction that often gets missed. If a truth makes you uncomfortable, it doesn't automatically mean the speaker was rude. Sometimes the truth itself is just inherently uncomfortable. It challenges our deeply held beliefs, our past actions, or our established ways of thinking. When faced with a direct, even uncomfortable truth, listeners have a vital responsibility to lower their guard. This means actively listening, consciously trying to put aside immediate defensiveness, and evaluating the message based on its actual content rather than just the initial emotional reaction it might cause. It requires acknowledging that discomfort can actually be a powerful trigger for growth and deeper understanding. Rather than an intentional insult, think about a doctor giving you bad news about your health. The truth might be deeply uncomfortable, even scary, but the doctor isn't being rude by giving you that truth directly. Their goal is to give you accurate, vital information for your health and well-being. If a patient were to react by accusing the doctor of rudeness just because the news was unwelcome, they'd be missing the crucial information needed for their recovery. Similarly, in work or personal relationships, getting constructive criticism can naturally be uncomfortable. It challenges us to look at our flaws or areas where we need to improve. If our immediate response is to shut down, label the feedback as rude, and refuse to engage, we lose invaluable chances for self-correction and personal growth. Lowering our guard means actively asking clarifying questions, trying to understand the speaker's viewpoint, and being open to the possibility that the discomfort signals a moment for personal growth rather than a deliberate personal attack. What happens when we don't get it right? If we fail to clearly separate rudeness from directness, it leads to serious problems, creating a communication culture that's bad for progress, genuine connections, and our overall well-being. We risk fostering environments where truth is either too sharp to be received. This means if every uncomfortable truth is immediately labeled as rude, people will become overly sensitive, and communicators will naturally avoid giving necessary feedback or tough messages. This leads to a stifled, artificial environment where important problems never get fixed, and honesty is constantly sacrificed for fake harmony. People will learn to walk on eggshells, afraid of getting criticized for speaking their minds. Result is often an echo chamber effect, where people only hear what they want to hear. Stifling innovation and critical thinking, or truth, can become too soft to be useful. If we keep watering down the truth to avoid any potential discomfort, it becomes so bland that it loses all its impact and value. Trying to please everyone becomes the norm. Important information is sugar-coated, so much that it's unrecognizable, and crucial issues are never tackled head-on. This leads to a widespread lack of clarity, tons of misunderstandings, and eventually, a serious breakdown of trust. When people are constantly fed, softened, incomplete truths, they'll struggle to develop resilience when facing real challenges or to navigate complex realities. Neither of these extremes is good for us. A society, an organization, or a relationship where truth is either violently delivered or meticulously avoided is fundamentally dysfunctional and can't make lasting progress. We desperately need environments where honesty can thrive, always balanced with respect, consideration, and genuine empathy. In short, the core difference comes down to intention and impact. Rudeness, no matter what's said, often has an underlying intention to diminish, or, at the very least, shows a deep disregard for the emotional impact on the receiver. Its impact is almost always negative, causing resentment and defensiveness. Directness, on the other hand, is driven by the intention to clarify, inform, or improve, and its impact, while potentially uncomfortable, is ultimately constructive, leading to understanding and resolution. It respects the receiver's ability to handle the truth, even if it's tough. The difference between rudeness and directness isn't just some academic theory. It's a vital framework for building healthier personal relationships, creating more productive workplaces, and handling the complex parts of human interaction with more skill and grace. By understanding this crucial distinction, we empower ourselves to communicate with greater precision, empathy, and honesty. We learn how to deliver truth in a way that sheds light on things instead of alienating people. And we learn how to receive truth in a way that encourages growth instead of defensiveness. It requires both the speaker to think before they speak, making sure the truth is delivered thoughtfully, and the listener to lower their guard, recognizing that discomfort doesn't equal disrespect. When both sides commit to this complex dance of honest consideration, we move past the false choice of truth being either too sharp to be received or too soft to be useful. Instead, we create a space where truth serves its highest, most constructive purpose: to clarify, to connect, and to move us forward together.